It's the oldest cultural organization in the state. Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Laurel Hess and this is Comcast Newsmakers, coming to you from the 2014 West Michigan Policy Forum, being taped at the Amway Grand Plaza Hotel in downtown Grand Rapids. Joining me now is the Director of Development for the Historical Society of Michigan, Rick Garcia. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me here, Laura.
When we say oldest cultural organization in the state, we're not messing around. You've been around since 1828.
That's right. The actual organization was founded by the founders, Lewis Cass and Henry Schoolcraft, our pioneers, and they were the first governing body who founded the organization. And the history organization itself has been in existence throughout that time, publications, doing a lot of archiving of stories as well as collections. But we've grown since then in 1828.
And it's your job really to let folks know what Michigan's history is, all the little known facts, and get those facts correct?
Correct, Laurel. And one of the things is we have 5 key missions in what we do. The first part, of course, is our publications, the Michigan History Magazine, which many people are familiar with, which features a lot of stories that are in Michigan, contemporary and also stories that are back from 200 years. But also we do educational conference, working closely with kids in education, as well as our awards program, which is the Centennial and the Milestone programs, which recognizes farms, Michigan farms and businesses.
You mentioned the magazines. We should mention that again because I know you have a new initiative, actually, a Michigan History for Kids, a magazine that's about to debut.
That's correct. The magazine itself is thanks to, in part, of the William Kellogg Foundation, and the grant enables us to go back to the history format. We used to have the hard copy of the magazines, but now we're looking at doing it both hard copy and electronic formats, so it'd be accessible for all the schools and the educators to use it as a supplement for 3rd and 4th grade history.
That's awesome. So we've got kids learning and being educated about Michigan history. Also, a magazine I have, you brought a copy with me. Michigan History used to be something that the Secretary of State put out. Probably with budget cuts, it stopped, and now you're in charge of that again.
That's correct. Back about 6 years ago, we were fortunate that we were able to take that on because the Secretary of State is still a partner with us, so we're glad that Ruth Johnson has been able to give us the permission to reintroduce the magazine and the opportunity for people to still continue that tradition that we've been doing for many, many years.
So you mentioned Schoolcraft, which I'm a Michigander, have been born and raised here all my life. I think I know a lot about Michigan history, but I didn't know where Schoolcraft College even got its name from, so I'm sure there's some interesting ties there. What should we here in Michigan know about our state?
A number of things. Michigan is unique because it is a sense of place. Our roots take us back to the days of the French fur trappers, of course, but also the fact that you look back at the French and Indian influence. But more important, the rich heritage of our automotive and agriculture. We have many, many great stories that came from those 2 arenas, from Henry Ford, of course, to Edison, as well as our rich agriculture, which signifies our Centennial Farm program, where we acknowledge families who have owned their farms and continue to work their farms for over 100 years, and they get that designation, a marker. So we have about 7,000 of those farms that are recognized here in Michigan alone.
Well, you did mention the statewide awards programs, awarding farms and businesses, people who are doing great things and obviously have been for a very long time.
For a very long time, and we're grateful for many of these programs that are funded largely in part by Meyer. Meyer is one of our biggest benefactor supporter, in addition to Consumer and DT Energy.
All right, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Laura.
Today's Comcast Newsmaker was Rick Garcia, the Director of Development for the Historical Society of Michigan.